Have you ever felt like you're just constantly putting out fires with your child's schoolwork? A bad grade here, a missed assignment there. Well, today we're looking at a pretty powerful idea that flips that whole script. It says these aren't just little isolated problems. Nope, they're actually signs of a much deeper, systemic breakdown in how your child's brain is even operating.
Right out of the gate, the source material does not pull any punches. It opens with this line that just challenges everything you might think. It forces you to get past labels like lazy or unmotivated and to look at a more compassionate and, honestly, a more accurate diagnosis. Overload. The system itself is just broken. And then bam, the focus shifts right onto the parent. The source asks this really brutal question that just highlights this huge disconnect, right? We're trying to patch up this complex internal system failure with something simple and external, a grade. It's kind of like trying to fix a busted engine by just giving the car a new paint job. It just doesn't work.
And here it is, the wake-up call. The source is basically screaming, stop playing whack-a-mole with the symptoms. That bad grade? That's not the problem. Not really. It's just the tip of the iceberg. The real issue is this massive hidden system failure that's just churning away underneath the surface.
Okay, so what does seeing it this way actually look like? Well, the core argument is that we're not dealing with a lack of effort. We're dealing with a state of complete and utter internal chaos. Imagine a factory where all the gears are grinding, the wires are sparking, and nothing is working together. That's what's going on inside a struggling child's head. And this is where it all breaks down. The brain itself is just overloaded. It can't cope. Memory isn't just a little weak. The source says it's literally drowning. And these huge emotions are completely hijacking any ability to focus. But look at the parent's view. All they see is the bad grade. They get angry, totally missing the real problem, the system failure that's causing everything.
All right, this is where things get really, really urgent. The material argues that doing nothing is not a neutral option. In fact, it's actively harmful. It lays out what it calls the high cost of waiting, showing how this whole problem just snowballs over time if you don't address the root system.
And this timeline is just devastating. The projection says that in just 1 year, the kid hits total burnout. By year 2, they just give up. They shut down. They stop even asking for help. And by year 3, the damage becomes a part of them. The struggle isn't something they have anymore. It becomes who they are. They start to believe deep down that they just aren't good enough.
And this right here, this is what's really at stake. The source makes it painfully clear. What you stand to lose isn't just about grades. It's not about the report card at all. The real, devastating cost of letting the system fail is that you lose contact with your child.
Okay, so after that pretty grim forecast, the source pivots, and it pivots hard. It goes straight from the problem to the solution. And it suggests this radical new role for you, the parent. You're not a homework monitor, you're not a cheerleader, you're a tough brain coach.
This lays out the choice so clearly. You've got two paths. The old way is all reactive, right? You try to motivate, you feel sorry for them, you react to the bad grade after it happens. The brain coach mindset, though, that's proactive. You don't offer pity, you give them a real plan. You don't just react to the results. You get in there and you train the core components to build a stronger system.
So how does this whole system reboot actually work? Well, it's not a magic wand. It's a real systematic training process for each of those parts that were failing before. We're talking about specific exercises to train the brain, new strategies to train and regulate emotions, techniques to train memory, and methods to build that attention muscle. And here's the payoff. This is the best part. The source claims that once this internal system is actually working right, you finally get to see your kid's true potential. You know that defiant, I don't want to, that you hear all the time? Turns out it's not really laziness. It's just a mask for I can't. But once you fix the system, that I can't finally becomes I can.
Of course, the source doesn't just diagnose the problem and leave you hanging. The whole argument we've just gone through funnels down into a concrete first step. In this case, it's a webinar that's designed to give parents a 30-day game plan to actually do this system reboot and start training attention, thinking, and memory. The whole shebang.
And so we end on this one last, really powerful question. It boils this entire idea down to a single choice. The goal isn't just a better grade on a report card. It's about something way more fundamental. It's about this. Do you want to give your child the internal system they need to be able to truly cope with whatever challenges life is going to throw at them?